This world has one rule. Hunters are either strong or nothing. He was nothing. Bleeding out in a dungeon, left for dead by his own team. I have a family, they say. Guess what? So does he. And just when it should all be over, this episode kicks off right where we left off. The Airbnb host is still trying to vaporize everyone. But thanks to Jin-Woo clutching up last time, most of the raid squad is still alive. Well, except the captain, who lost an arm. Dude's reaction to this was like, no arm? Tuesday. Jin-Woo has to patch him up because the magic nurse is having a full-on panic attack in the corner, which explains why a B-rank healer is running bottom tier dungeons. You can't heal people if you're too busy crying. But then they start discussing the commandments, and apparently these commandments make the statue out to be some kind of god. Like bro, just because you own one Airbnb doesn't make you the messiah. Then we cut to the prologue. The narrator starts glazing the hunters like they're humanity's last hope, which is hilarious because last episode those guys got folded by ants. And then the narrator goes, the horrors inside the dungeons can leave them in utter despair. Like, yeah, no kidding. If ants clapped me, a mosquito would basically be my final boss. Then we cut to Jin-Woo's sister in school. One of her friends says,
if I awaken, I will make E-rank look good.
nah, the only thing you would make look good is Jin-Woo by stealing his crown as the weakest hunter alive. We come back to the dungeon after that bullshit. The squad starts discussing how to leave this place because they know they can't beat that creepy ass statue. Then this guy in green shoes, no socks, announces he just signed a contract with the major guild and he ain't dying here. Bro, your contract expired the moment you started monologuing. They even give him a flashy power-up animation. But before he even reaches the gate, the statue just deletes him. The full power-up sequence went straight to the grave. The animation budget was indeed well spent. The only thing that's left are his shoes. Even the statue didn't want those. After that, everyone starts panicking, but Jin-Woo starts thinking, why has it only killed the people who moved? Normally, monsters just charge at you instantly, no question. This one, it's patient, creepy patient, just sitting there like it's judging everyone's life choices. And then it hits him. The dungeon has rules, rules with the teeth. The commandments aren't just creepy writing on a wall. They're basically Airbnb rules of death. Break one, yeah, you don't get a refund. So rule number one is to worship God. So Jin-Woo thought it was a good idea to get up just to test one of his theories. And when the statue's eye starts glowing, he got down with efficiency. But his theory was confirmed though. If you get above a certain height, you get vaporized. So they literally have to get down on their knees and worship God. So they did, and it worked. The creepy statue's eyes stopped glowing. But then it went from creepy to freaky in seconds with a devious smile. If I saw that smile, I am not getting up ever. Just stay on the floor. Thank you very much. But these guys clearly didn't think that and got up. And the statue proceeds to get up with them with the same freaky ass smile. So they are now freaking out, trying to understand what the second commandment said, which is to praise God. If I saw a big creepy ass statue walking up to me like that with a shitty ass smile, walking towards it is the last thing I would do. But this guy, clearly overconfident in his ability as a dedicated student of ethnology or some shit, stirs forward, kneels, starts praying. But the statue's smile just gets creepier, and Jin-Woo in his head is like, no, this doesn't apply to this god. First, when did this dude become a god? Second, could you maybe, I don't know, say it out loud and the rest just stand there, silent, frozen? Bro, at least yell, hey, there's a giant foot over your head. Nobody says a thing. And yup, he gets stomped. Of course, after that whole display, none of these guys are sticking around to get turned into floor paste, so they bolt. But then, one girl's leg gives out. She drops to her knees, crying, completely breaking down. And yeah, she gets pancaked too. Right as this was happening, a thought came to my mind. Why is everyone dressed like they're on a weekend trip to a mall? Not a single piece of armor in sight. Anyway, they start spreading out, trying to figure something out. Then, Babu Jacket decides to monologue about his family, which is funny because he was one of the original kill trippers, begging to come in here. Like, if you really cared about your family, maybe don't waltz into a creepy ass cave. Then he runs into a corner, all dramatic, and says, I think the safest spots are up against walls. Like it's some kind of galaxy brain tactic. And right on cue, the statue behind him slices him clean in half. Turns out, bro wasn't that bright. But hey, if you thought a creepy ass cave screamed get rich quick scheme to you, maybe natural selection just clocked in early. While Jin-Woo's on the run with the magic nurse trying to figure out what the second commandment even means, praise God. Cool, but how the hell do you even praise this freaky ass statue? That anthropology student or whatever already got stomped for praying. So clearly that ain't it. And right after that, another dude gets split in half while muttering, "This is all just a dream. I'll wake up any moment now." Yeah, buddy, you woke up in 2 separate pieces. Then Jin-Woo notices something. Axe, hammer, sword, trumpet. He finally figures it out. Everyone getting sliced. They're standing in front of statues with weapons, but the ones holding instruments, yeah, they can't fight, no weapons. So to praise God, you just stand under a statue that can actually do it for you. Jin-Woo tells everyone to get below the musical statues. So now it's like musical chairs, death edition. 1 person per statue or else you're done. Jin-Woo is still dragging the magic nurse but realizes he needs his own statue too. The problem is, it's all the way across the room. So now he's sprinting across the room while this giant stone bastard is chasing him, swinging like it's whack-a-mole. But luckily, Jin-Woo is the god of ducking and sliding. Bro's been rolling since episode 1, but mid-roll, he accidentally ends up in front of a statue with a shield, which, you know, is still a weapon. Statue doesn't hesitate, swings at him. Dust explodes everywhere, and for a second, it looks like he is done. But then, Jin-Woo crawls out of the rubble. He's alive, but something's clearly missing. We just don't know what yet. Even so, Bro is not stopping. Just when it looked like he was about to get stomped, he makes it. Jin-Woo finally looks down, and yeah, he's missing a whole leg, and his reaction completely unbothered. Yeah, I lost the leg. Anyway, the magic nurse tries to heal it, but nope. Turns out, healing missing limbs is above her pay grade. But then we get this guy, the second dumbass gaslighter, started blaming the captain, saying the captain lost his arm because of karma. Karma? If you're really playing by those rules, then your karma should have been DLC titled Early Access to the Afterlife. Like, bro, you dragged him in here. So after that, an altar pops out of the ground, and the next commandment is, prove your faith. And of course, in this guy's little brain, proving your faith means sacrificing someone else. Like what? That's not faith. If you sacrifice someone else, that's not proof of anything. If you really believed, you would sacrifice yourself. This is just murder with extra steps. And who does he point his weapon at? Yup, the captain. He doubles down, gaslighting harder than ever. Like, yeah bro, it's totally your fault. 6 people and the split in half clown are dead, and somehow it works. Captain just throws his hands up like, yeah, that's on me, and takes all the blame and walks into the altar, and boom, 1 flame lights up. So our investigative genius, Jin-Woo, gets carried down there by the crew, and as they step into the altar, more flames pop up. Translation: everyone's cooked. Then we get some extra lore. If they fail here, the dungeon cracks open in 7 days, and it's the 7th day, and that nightmare statue just scrolls into the real world. Personally, if I were them, I wouldn't care about the 7-day timer. Forget saving the world. I'm only thinking, can I get out today? So now all of them step inside, and all the red flames ignite. But right after that, blue flames pop up, and the door opens. But surprise, the statues starts marching towards them. Suddenly, Jin-Woo starts pulling out his high IQ plays again. Like, bro, if you really had this many brain cells, why don't you just, I don't know, get a different job? Anyway, the gimmick is red light, green light. As long as you stare at the statues, they don't move. Last game was musical chairs. Now it's red light, green light. Too much pressure though, because this one girl immediately panics and bolts. And another guy runs away as well. Jin-Woo starts explaining his theory after that. The blue flames are a timer. The red ones show how many people are left. 4 people are here right now. And if one leaves, it creates a blind spot. And if that happens, the statues start moving again. But the master gaslighter strikes again. Starts crying, saying the game might close when the timer runs out. We already knew you were gonna leave, bro. The speech was not needed. Sure enough, he dips, and the statues starts moving again. But the captain, he's the real one. He tells Jin-Woo and the healer they're young. They still have their whole lives ahead of them. But Jin-Woo doesn't have a leg anymore. So the only way he's getting out is if the magic nurse carries him. But then her legs give up. Could it have happened earlier while they were yapping? Nah, now it's perfect. Jin-Woo makes the call. The captain should carry her instead. Magic nurse protests though, but before she can even argue, the captain just knocks her out and carries her outside. And the only contribution gaslighter number 2 did was leaving behind his damn sword, which to be fair, Jin-Woo actually puts to use. This man straight up blocks a 90-foot giant statue's strike. Like, bro, where was this energy when you were getting bullied by a goblin? Now you're out here tanking skyscraper-sized swords. But then another one comes from behind. Jin-Woo rolls out of the way. Of course, he's still the god of dodging. But before he can even stand though, boom, another statue sneaks up. He tries to parry, Yeah, he lost it. At this point, it's not even a fight anymore. These statues are just straight up jumping him. And worst of all, they always come from behind. The camera doesn't even bother showing him anymore. Just blood splatter, inner monologue, and the sound of someone getting put through a blender. Then it cuts back to him collapsing against the altar. And Jin-Woo looks basically fine. Sure, roughed up, missing an arm, a leg, but nowhere near what we were just hearing. And right as Jin-Woo's entire mindset was changing, one statue's blade pierces him, yanking him off the ground and slamming him onto the altar. The air trembles, preparing him for a sacrifice, and just as the blade comes down, the last blue flame sputters and dies. That's when the rebirth begins. As if in one click, you could watch my next video.